Magic Tea House, Book Number 50, A Merlin Mission. Hurry Up, Houdini, by Mary Pope Osborne. Chapter 1, Message from Merlin. Early one summer evening, Jack lay on the couch reading a book about the history of horses. "Jack, could you run and get Annie from Jenny's house, please?" their mom called from the kitchen. "We're grilling hot dogs soon." "Sure," said Jack. He closed his book, hopped off the couch, and headed out the front door. As he started down the porch steps, Annie charged into the yard. "It's back," she said, out of breath. "You're kidding," said Jack. "No, I'm serious," said Annie. "On my way home from Jenny's, I checked the woods. I had a funny feeling it was back, and it was." "Are Merlin and Penny there?" asked Jack. "I don't think so," said Annie. "I shouted hello, but no one answered. I wanted to come get you before I climbed up." "Thanks," said Jack. "Wait here, I'll tell Mom." He dashed back into the house. "Mom, can Annie and I do something for about 20 minutes? He called. "Okay, 20 minutes, no more," said their mom. "The grill's almost ready." "Thanks," said Jack. He looked at his wristwatch. It was 5:42, so they had to be home by 2 minutes after 6. He grabbed his backpack and hurried out of the house. Annie was waiting on the sidewalk. 20 minutes, no more," Jack called, running toward her. "No problem," Annie said, and they hurried up the sidewalk together. "I'll bet Merlin wants us to find another secret of greatness," said Jack. "I know," said Annie. "I can't wait." They crossed the street and headed into the Frog Creek woods. They ran through the shadowy light until they came to the tallest oak. "Merlin? Penny?" Annie called. There was no answer. The woods were still, strangely still. Not a leaf moved. "Let's go up," said Jack. He grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing. Annie followed. When they scrambled into the treehouse, there was no sign of Merlin or Penny. "Not here," said Annie. "Nope," said Jack. "But everything else is." He pointed to a piece of paper lying on the floor in the corner. On the paper, he'd written the secret of greatness they'd learned on their last mission. Humility. Sitting on top of the paper were two things, a small gold ring and a tiny bottle. Annie picked up the ring and held it out to Jack. "The ring of truth," she said. "You get to wear it this time." "Thanks," said Jack. He took the gold ring and slipped it onto his finger. "Just make sure you keep checking to see if it's glowing," said Annie. "Don't worry, I will," said Jack. According to Merlin, the ring of truth would glow only when Jack and Annie discovered the true secret of greatness. Annie picked up the tiny bottle. She and Jack stared at its swirling contents. "Wow," she breathed. "Merlin's magic mist." Jack repeated the words of Camelot's magician. "Mist gathered at first light on the first day of the new moon on the Isle of Avalon." "Good memory," said Annie. "Who wouldn't remember that?" said Jack. "If we take a sniff, we can be great at anything we choose for 1 hour." "That's so cool," said Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. He had loved becoming a great horse trainer on their last mission. "I wonder what talent we'll have this time, and where will we go?" Annie pointed at a booklet that was lying in the shadows. She picked it up and handed it to Jack. "Coney Island, I think," she said. Jack read the title. Coney Island, Tourist Guide. Coney Island. Isn't that in New York? Said Annie. Yep, look, there's a note inside, said Jack. He pulled out a piece of parchment from the booklet. He read aloud. Dear Jack and Annie, thank you for successfully completing your first mission to find a secret of greatness. Now on your new mission, I would like you to learn a second secret, this time from the great Houdini. M. Oh man, the great Houdini, said Jack. What did he do? Said Annie. Dad told me about him, said Jack. He could escape from anything. Chains, ropes, locks, handcuffs, prisons. He was amazing. Was he a criminal? Said Annie. Jack laughed. No, he was a performer, the greatest escape artist who ever lived, he said. He performed his act all over the world. I can't believe we're actually going to meet him. So where do we find a person like that? Asked Annie. Coney Island, said Jack, holding up the booklet. Oh yeah, duh, said Annie. So make the wish and let's go. Okay, said Jack. He put Merlin's message and the magic mist into his backpack. Then he pointed to the words Coney Island on the booklet. I wish we could go there. The wind started to blow. The tree house started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Chapter 2. My Teat. Jack heard people laughing and shouting. A brass band was playing a lively tune. He and Danny looked out the window. The tree house had landed in a cluster of trees. High above the trees were towers, turrets, domes, and spires. Are those castles? Asked Annie. Did we land in the Middle Ages? Definitely not, said Jack. Look at our clothes. In the dim light inside the treehouse, Jack could see that he was wearing knee-length pants, a long-sleeved shirt, high socks, and lace-up boots. His backpack was now a leather bag. You're right, said Annie. She was wearing a sailor dress and a pair of boots. These are like the clothes we wore when we went to San Francisco. Yep, in the early 1900s, said Jack. He reached into one of his pockets and took out a watch on a chain. Look, I have a pocket watch now instead of a wristwatch. And from the other pocket, Jack pulled out a handful of coins, a bunch of pennies. Just pennies, that's all, said Annie. Don't worry, said Jack. I once read that a penny in 1900 was worth the same as a quarter in our time. Cool, we're rich, said Annie with a laugh. Here, take some, said Jack. He gave Annie half of his handful of coins. Thanks, Annie said, dropping the pennies into the pocket of her dress. Okay, let's find out what's going on here. She headed down the ladder. Jack slung his bag over his shoulder and followed her. Jack and Annie stepped down into a walled garden lit by a string of tiny lights. They walked together down a pebbled path and over a small bridge that crossed a brook. Then they came to a wooden gate with a sign that said, Thanks for visiting the Japanese tea garden. We landed in a Japanese tea garden, said Jack. What's that about? Keep going, said Annie. She opened the gate, and they stepped from the shadowy garden into a bright open space. Wow, they said together. Beneath the turrets and towers, thousands of electric lights lit up the evening sky. A big band played on a raised platform near the lake. Men in white suits and women in long white dresses strolled down a broad avenue. Children dressed like Jack and Danny darted about, shouting and pointing at different attractions. A chip to the moon, mountain torrent, Kansas cyclone. The air smelled of salt water, roasting nuts, and popcorn. Vendors shouted, "Step right up! World's greatest ice cream! Strawberry, vanilla! World's greatest pink lemonade! World's greatest hot dogs!" "What is this place?" said Annie. Jack opened their book and read, "Located in southern Brooklyn in New York City, Coney Island is actually a peninsula, a piece of land nearly surrounded by water. Coney Island is world famous for its dazzling amusement parks." "Of course, I understand," said Jack. "We landed in an amusement park." "I love it," said Annie. "Let's get a hot dog." "No, we'd better not," said Jack. "We should find Houdini first. Let's see if the guidebook says anything about him." He opened their booklet and thumbed through the pages. "Houdini, Houdini." He ran his finger down a page. "Hey, here's an ad for his show." Jack read aloud. "Don't miss the great Houdini. Henderson's Music Hall, Surf Avenue, June 22nd, 1908, 9 p.m. "Oh, wow," said Annie. "Our tourist booklet must be from 1908, and I bet Merlin wants us to see Houdini at Henderson's Music Hall. Excuse me," she called to a couple strolling by. "Is today by any chance June 22nd, 1908? The woman laughed. "It is indeed," she said. "Thanks," said Annie. Jack pulled out his pocket watch. "It's 6:40 right now," he said. "Oh, we have tons of time," said Annie. "Come on, let's get a hot dog." "No," said Jack. "I think we should get our tickets. We have over 2 hours," Annie interrupted. "It doesn't take long to eat a hot dog. My Teat." She grabbed Jack and pulled him toward the hot dog stand. Okay, Jack said, sighing. Actually, the smells coming from the stand were pretty wonderful. "How much?" Annie said to a girl grilling hot dogs on a portable stove. 3 cents each, the girl answered. "Or 2 for a nickel." "No problem. 2, please," said Annie. She counted out 5 pennies and gave them to the girl. The girl wrapped 2 hot dogs in white bread and loaded them with relish. She passed them to Annie and Jack. Jack took a giant bite. Delicious," he said with his mouth full. "Is greatest hot dog in the world." Jack nodded. "Well, we greatest," she said, her mouth full too. When they finished eating, they wiped their mouths with a handkerchief from Jack's pocket. "Okay, let's get our Houdini tickets now," he said. "Wait, we still have time for ice cream," said Annie. "They have strawberry, your favorite." Ice cream?" said Jack. "It'll just take 2 minutes," said Annie. "The greatest in the world, remember?" "Okay, my Teat," said Jack. "Yay, thanks," said Annie. They hurried to the window of a small ice cream shop. 2 cones of strawberry, Jack said. 4 cents, the ice cream man said. Jack handed over 4 pennies. The man scooped strawberry ice cream into 2 sweet-smelling waffle cones and handed them to Jack. Jack and Annie ate their ice cream as they strolled up the dazzling avenue, passing different rides and attractions. "Chip to the moon!" a young man shouted at them. "Get your tickets here." "Been there," Jack said. "Done that," added Annie. A boy in a fur parka rolled by on a unicycle. "Tickets for the submarine ride," he yelled to Jack and Annie. "Departing soon for the North Pole." "Been there," said Annie. "Done that," said Jack. "Kansas cyclone," a girl shouted from the entrance of a large tent. "Come inside and be blown away." "Been there, done that too," said Jack. Annie laughed. As soon as he finished his ice cream cone, Jack wiped his hands and opened their booklet. "Okay, now we have to get serious," he said. "I wonder where Surf Avenue is." "Hey, I see something we haven't done before," said Annie. "Look!" Annie pointed to a boat filled with screaming passengers splashing down a tall, watery slide. The boat crashed into a lake and shot under an arched bridge. The riders shrieked as they bounced up into the air. Then the boat glided across the lake to a landing. "Shoot the chutes!" a man yelled from a ticket booth. "Only 1 dime! Jump aboard!" "Wow, that looks like so much fun! Let's do it! My Teat," said Annie. Before Jack could say anything, she dashed to the booth. Jack quickly followed her. "No, Annie," he said. "I want to get our tickets for the Houdini show now." But Annie had already pulled out a bunch of pennies and was paying for 2 tickets. "I said I didn't," Jack said. "Oh, please," Annie said, handing Jack his ticket. "We have plenty of time. One little ride won't hurt us." Jack sighed. "But he started. Come on," Annie said. "We'll get Houdini tickets right after this, I promise. This will just take an extra 5 minutes. That's all." "Okay, you win," said Jack. "Let's go." Jack followed Annie to a boat. The last passengers were climbing out, talking and laughing. Others were waiting to climb in. 4 giggling teenage girls and a short man and woman who both wore large hats. The woman's hat was piled high with fake roses and bananas. "The kids right up front," the boatman said. Jack and Annie stepped into the boat, and the teenagers and the couple in the hats took seats behind them. The boatman sat in the back. Soon cables began pulling the boat up a ramp that led to the top of the slide. "Whoa," Jack breathed as the boat climbed higher and higher. The amusement park shimmered below. Hundreds of flags flapped from turrets and towers. "What keeps the boat from tumbling off its tracks?" Jack wondered. "There are no seat belts here," he grumbled to Annie. "Or safety bars, or anything. How do people keep from falling out of this thing?" "I don't know," said Annie, sighing. "But could you just try to have fun? It's a normal, everyday ride." "Yeah, well, we don't really have time for a normal, everyday ride," said Jack. "We should have gotten our tickets for the Houdini show already." "You don't have to be so grouchy," said Annie. "I'm not grouchy," Jack said grouchily. "But why do we always do what you want to do?" Before Annie could answer, the boat swiveled on a turnaround at the top of the ramp. Then it jerked forward and barreled down the slide toward the lake. "Ah!" Jack yelled.